for 2018. Last year, we were able to do a lot of really great things. As always, we're learning new items and bringing in new members, and we have lots of lessons learned. I want to thank everyone who filled out the survey. Kyle is going to go into that in a minute with the specific details on the results, but we had about a 20% participation with that. So that's pretty good. I wish we would have a little bit higher just to get a little bit more thoughts to help us direct what's going on. But you can always share at any time your thoughts on how to make the team better. So just some highlights from last year. We did 2 activations. So we worked on the X Games and the solar eclipse, and that resulted in about 220 hours of service to the state of Colorado. So this year, we're hoping to, again, help the local jurisdictions. Although, unfortunately, X Games has decided that they have the X Games all on their own this year and aren't asking for support there. So we'll see what comes up for the rest of 2018. And then as we move into the next item on our agenda is the survey results. So the first item on that that I'll just touch on are the meeting times. For those who participated, indicated that Fridays aren't working. And because of that, we're seeing, I think, more people who are attending by the recorded version, which is awesome and is great. But we'd like to make the meetings more interactive and find a date that actually works for you all to meet. So if you don't mind in the next week going into Slack and just posting on the training channel what day and times work best for you. So day of the week, morning, afternoon, if there's a specific time, please go ahead and put that in there, and then we will compile that and propose some options so that we can have some meeting times that meet your needs, and we can get some more interactive trainings going on. So I'm going to hand this over to Kyle. We met during December, and Kyle put together the rest of this agenda and your 2018 training calendar based on your feedback. So he's going to go ahead and share that now. Kyle, go ahead.
All right, thanks, Mickey, and hello, everyone. Kyle Nelson coming to you live here. Thanks, everyone, for joining in today. It's great to see such a good turnout here for January. We're going to kick off the year and kind of set the stage for things, and I'm going to go into a couple of the training changes that both were offered up by you and your feedback in our survey, as well as from Mickey and I's conversation going forward. So what we decided to kind of switch things up a little bit is to go to 2 trainings per quarter. Many of you did indicate that you would be interested in keeping the monthly training going on. However, with some of the feedback that we also got and looking at the statistics, both for the live trainings as well as those that are viewing the recording after the fact, we wanted to make sure that we weren't just trying to fill training slots for the sake of that, but rather to focus more on targeted trainings based on what you, the members, wanted to learn about and the topics that you felt would be most important. So to do that effectively, we're going to drop down to 2 trainings per quarter. Another thing that we kind of came to was that doing the live version it's not always feasible with Mickey and I's schedules, especially in the summer months. So what we're going to do is have 1 pre-recorded training per quarter as well, and then the other would be live. And what we're going to be doing with the live version is we're actually looking at a couple of platforms right now, both GoToMeeting as well as another called freeconferencecall.com. And those would allow for more interaction from you during this, as opposed to just the live chat that's available on the YouTube viewing link, as well as the training channel on Slack. You know, some of you missed that face-to-face that we had with some of the platforms we may have used in the past. Those of you that have been around for a while, I definitely feel you on that. And so we want to work to address that, to make this more interactive, more engaging, so that we can have more of that team community type feel, even though we may physically be very, very far apart. So that's a couple of the updates from the training side of things, some of those changes. And also many of you have requested, whether you're in the office, you can't pull up the YouTube link, whatever it might be, with IT security permissions and things. We will have a call-in number for those that wish to listen in, or perhaps who don't do the audio through their computer very well, and or those that you don't want to view it, but you want to listen in and be able to contribute that way. So all those, the two new platforms we're looking at, both freeconferencecall.com and GoToMeeting, will have that option available, and it'll be a lot more interactive. So that's what we're really striving for, to set ourselves off for success in 2018. It's still kind of in the testing phases with being a state team. There are some things to work and go forward with when we're switching training platforms and things. However, Mickey has been a great advocate for us and running things up her chain of command. And so big thanks to her for all her hard work behind the scenes to help us move forward as well in that regard. And Cheryl, I saw your question there in the live chat pop up, and that is correct. We would be switching from monthly meetings to 2 meetings every quarter. So a total of 8 per year is what we're going to strive for moving forward this year in 2018. So again, any questions, keep them coming. I'm watching the live chat as well as the training channel on Slack. Thanks, Nathan, for dropping your flexibility and availability in there. Folks, please do that as well as we're going along, and we will address those questions and things as they pop up. So let's keep this thing rolling. Breaking from training changes, I'm going to just scroll down here a little bit and talk about some training topics. If you have any other thoughts, things that pop up, things that you may have read or seen on various social media sites or on websites that you're curious about, platform changes, we can definitely address those for you. So there are quite a few hot topics that both you identified in your feedback on the CoVost survey that Mickey sent out a little while back, as well as some things that Mickey and I felt would be very relevant to our team based on some of the feedback from our points of contact that we have worked with as well. So one of those would be creating custom Google Maps. This is something, mapping is something that we've seen continue to emerge and grow as a way to share and communicate information. And for our members to be familiar with the process behind that, we thought would be very, very helpful, both not just from CoVost perspective, but also within your respective home agencies as well. Another one, by popular demand, almost everyone requested to do a little bit more advanced searching and monitoring on Reddit with our good friend Alicia King from the Pacific Northwest. She's a great friend of mine, and probably many of you on the team know her either digitally or have met her in person. She's super stoked. I've already talked to her. She's excited to come back and share and go a little bit deeper into the Reddit searching and monitoring as she presented on last year. So we're happy to have her back. Another one that was requested, digital media monitoring, some best practices and pitfalls. So kind of looking at from historic activations, both from CoVost as well as a few of our other folks on the team who have involvements both on the public and the private side for monitoring. We're kind of going to have that be kind of a group chat, best practices, kind of share some lessons learned, and just to share with the team so that we can all continue to grow and share together so we can move forward as a team and hopefully address some of those best practices and pitfalls so that we can learn from these and move forward together. Another one was those live streaming platforms. And it says life. Let me correct that right now. All right, live streaming platforms, like I said, that's another one. The landscape of that is continuing to evolve. So we want to do an update. I know Nathan Hoonerwaddle did a update on live streaming platforms a while back. I want to say it's like almost 1.5 years, 2 years ago now, and quite a bit has changed since then. So we'll go through a review of some of those live streaming platforms, as well as some techniques for monitoring in those digital spaces. And finally, the last topic that we have lined up right now is kind of a review of Slack, as well as the workbook that we use for the team during activations. And it's the same one that you see when you're signed in here. So this is a little plug. Please do indicate your availability and check in and check out in the January 2018 meeting workbook. Your training hours are very important to us, and we love sharing that information. And also, it's the same format that you'll see during an activation. So get familiar with it now so it looks even more familiar during an activation. And that's something that we will be reviewing as well, because even those of us that have been around for quite a while, if we haven't used those workbooks in a while and we don't use them on a regular basis, it's always good to have an update so we're ready to jump in just in case. So I'll take a quick pause now. Any questions from the team? Or Mickey, anything to add at this point?
I don't have anything to add. I think you're doing well. I did see that Cheryl asked when we would switch to the monthly meetings. And so that would be, we would start immediately after this. So our next meeting would be in March. Kyle, do we have that full? We can post a full schedule in Slack after this meeting.
Yes, absolutely. We can do that. I don't have that pulled up right now at the moment, but yes, that is correct. We will be making that switch straight away. And Cheryl, to answer your follow-up question there, if it was a recorded session, would we still do a meeting? So the meeting would be scheduled at its normal time. The video would be available for viewing. And then even if it wasn't a live version, either Mickey or myself, perhaps both of us, depending on how things work out logistically, we would be available for questions during our normal meeting time. So the only difference is that we wouldn't be presenting live. It would be a pre-recorded training where we could still be available via those digital platforms like Slack in order to address any questions that may come up during the recorded training. Is that anything to add on that, Mickey?
I would just remind people that that Slack platform, I monitor it all the time, although there are, some nights that I don't get to it for a couple hours. Kyle knows when he asks me a question, but typically during the day, you'll get a response back from myself or Kyle if it's a training question within an hour, usually. 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, probably a lot faster. But so we just want to really emphasize that Slack channel is our primary source of information sharing and isn't only for the one Friday or one meeting day a month. So please use that if any questions come up. And then again, like Kyle said, on those recorded days, typically I'll staff that to be there available for any questions that come up related to the recorded session.
All right, thanks, Mickey. And that's, again, we're moving forward with this. Still a few kinks to work out, of course, with any changes, as we know from working in our own agencies and things. So we're just trying to be flexible with everyone and to accommodate and to make the training, as relevant and accessible to as many folks as possible. So that kind of leads into the next topic of why some of these changes, why these came about. First and foremost, just the value for you as members. I touched on this earlier, and some of the feedback that we got, a large majority of that said that it may be difficult to set aside time every month for a meeting, but if it was something where perhaps doing quarterly trainings or twice quarterly trainings, so that the time could be allotted not just for the sake of filling a time slot every month, but rather to focus on topics that are relevant to our members, as well as focusing on what you all want to learn and to share about as well. And the biggest piece of it that I'll continue to stress and reiterate is that, while I am the training coordinator for the team, I'm not an expert on every one of the topics that come across. We were very fortunate last year to have a lot of great guest speakers and guest presenters that came in to share their knowledge, their ideas, their tools, their techniques with us. But I also want to hear from and learn from all of you as members as well, because we all have our own areas of expertise. And I really think we could do a great service to one another by sharing some of our knowledge and our experiences as well. So if there's a topic or a tool that you would like to present on and share with the team, please let Mickey and I know, and we'd love to have you present and to share that, because we can all learn from each other. And also it saves you from having to listen to me on here every week, and Mickey as well. So, no offense, Mickey, but I know folks, they do like to have things switched up every now and then.
Completely agree.
Right on. All right. Thanks, Chris. We'll be happy to have you on. So that's kind of a little bit on why the changes. If you have any specific questions on that, please feel free to contact Mickey directly. She's happy to fill anyone in or to clarify anything on the training side and why some of these changes were made. And now just kind of jumping in and kind of wrapping things up here. We wanted to keep this meeting short and sweet, kind of update you for 2018, what we did last year, what we're looking forward to this year. And just to reiterate, we do want to hear your thoughts, and using the Slack platform, that's our big communication platform. That's what we want to use primarily. Mickey, as she said, her and I, we're monitoring that pretty much on a 24/7 basis. Can't promise that all the time, but more or less when the notification goes off on my phone vibrates, I'll jump in there and address any of those questions or things that you have. So please don't hesitate to reach out. You're not going to bother us or offend us or anything. Please, that communication channel is there for us to use as a team to share knowledge, ideas, and information, and of course to ask questions as well. So,
Kyle,
let us know. Go.
Just a reminder to the team, if you're in the middle of an incident and think of a really great training idea or something that would be great to share with this team, please throw it in that channel when you're thinking about it, so that we can either start making contacts or figure out how we can add that to one of the agenda items. So please feel free to post stuff in there on an amazing speaker you saw, or just a lesson learned or best practice you saw to our mission for the team of monitoring that public information, or monitoring those open source platforms in order to make our PIOs successful in what they do. We've seen over the last week how important that public information messaging is, and the value of knowing what your community thinks when you're in the middle of an emergency. So please post those in there, and then we'll do everything we can to make sure that this agenda going forward is very valuable to you and makes the team stronger when we're activated to support our local jurisdictions.
Absolutely. And to just echo that, it really is about the team approach. And we're fortunate to have such a vast cadre of members from coast to coast and even international as well. And we're humbled to have that. It's truly an honor to work with all of you, to learn from you, and to share with all of you as well. And let's keep that going forward. I want that to be a theme for 2018. Where we continue to share these ideas, have these open discussions and conversations with each other, ask questions when you want to know something, and just know that we're here, we're here to support and to guide the team. But ultimately, it's you all that make the team as great as it is. So I just want to thank you, each and all personally. It's been huge. It's been a lot of fun, and I look forward to a great 2018 with you guys on the training side and on the operations side. When we are called upon. And just want to thank you for tuning in today. Didn't want it to necessarily take up the full hour today. Just wanted to give you a quick update. So let that be kind of some food for thought as well. Don't think if you have an idea or a topic to present that, I have to fill this whole block of time, this whole hour. If it's a half an hour quick snippet, then that's totally cool. So let's keep ideas going as well, and we will share as soon as we're wrapped up here. I'll share in the training channel on Slack the preliminary schedule that we have set for 2018 as far as training. And if you can help fill any of the open and available slots, please let Mickey or I know, and we'll get you plugged in there. So Mickey, any last comments for the team?
Yeah, I would just ask everyone, it's 9:21 or 20 after the hour, wherever you are. If you wouldn't mind just taking the next 5-10 minutes and just go back into that workbook and make sure you know what all the tabs are, that you're again familiar with it. We haven't been in there since October, I guess, was our last training. Our last activation was August. So just go through it, make sure that you can get in there, that you have access to everything, that when you put in your name in the drop down, you're there, so that we can make sure that we get those templates updated. We're ready to rock and roll when we get a request. And then I would also ask you in your Slack channel to just review your settings there. So when you are in that Slack channel, if you could at least turn on the notifications for alert and notify. The rest are up to you, but we won't use that alert and notify area except when we have an official request. So if you don't mind just double checking that you have that turned on so that you'll get that as well. And then we will be ready to go if we get a request. Hopefully we don't, but with no snow in the state of Colorado, I have a feeling that we will be busy this summer.
Definitely. Yeah, and as you said, Mickey, hopefully we don't have an activation for anything too severe, but we will be ready if and when the call does come. So again, thanks everyone for jumping in and sharing a little bit of your Friday morning with us here. Just to look ahead to our next meeting, we have that scheduled March 16 at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. We're keeping with the Friday morning piece for right now. We will collect your feedback in the training channel on what your availability is. Many of you have indicated that already, so thank you very much. The flexibility is great. Those of you, if there are things or days of the week, certain weeks that are better for you during a month than others, just let us know. And of course, please, once you're wrapped up here and after we close out, please go ahead and jump into that workbook, the CoVOS meeting workbook. The link is in the training channel on Slack. And make sure you sign in and sign out so that we can log your time and make sure that we all are getting the credit that we do deserve for the time contributions that we're making here to share and to work with this great team. So again, any questions that come up after the fact, please let Mickey or I know, drop a question in the training channel or send us a direct message. But until then, we'll see you in March. And again, thanks everyone. And this is our team. Let's learn, let's grow it together. Let's have a lot of fun in 2018.